don't have people marking out the copy saying you can't talk about this. I mean, if we want to be not politically correct, we can do that. We don't go out of our way. We're conservative, and we have values. Imagine that. Values is a beautiful thing. Speaking of no value, the whole Clinton-Lynch tarmac meeting report triggered this FBI for the leaker. That's what the email shows right now. The revelations last year of an unorthodox tarmac meeting. You remember the infamous between former President Bill Clinton, then Attorney General Loretta Lynch, set off a frenzy. Remember the scramble of the FBI to track down the source? Newly released documents show, yes, the source. Conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch on Thursday released 29 pages of what? Of FBI emails related to the 2016 meeting. Said the messages show officials were not concerned about the leak. They were more concerned about the leak than the substance of the report. What was talked about, what they were doing. These new FBI documents show that the FBI was more concerned, once again, about a whistleblower who told the truth about the infamous Clinton-Lynch tarmac meeting than the scandalous meeting itself, according to Judicial Watch President Tom Filton. The FBI initially claimed it had no documents pertaining to the meeting until uncovering it, and the files turned over to Judicial Watch. They have them. They're talking about them. So this is a big story right now. One email sent from a unidentified FBI account on July 3rd said, "We need to find that guy and bring him or her before a supervisor." Another said the source should be banned from working security details. Officials speculated that the source of the leak was a Phoenix police officer. One official said they contacted the Phoenix police officer and would try to stern any further damage. One official in July, and this was July 2nd email, said that the article represented a breach in security protocol and that the Phoenix division would be pressured to identify the source of the breach. So Judicial Watch is the one that's spearheading this, all of this. Fired FBI Director James Comey in Senate testimony described the tarmac meeting as problematic. The tarmac meeting came days before Comey held a news conference informing the media that Hillary Clinton would not be charged. And I still, to this day, believe that there is some dirt, something that the Clintons knew, that Loretta Lynch knew about this guy. I don't know if it was a threat. It was some dirt on him. Maybe he flirted with somebody. Maybe he had sex with somebody. Maybe they had photographs. That's how the Clintons play. That's how the left plays. It just he disgraced himself. We talked about Michael Flynn just a moment ago before the last segment. Yeah. And now, it doesn't surprise anybody right now, but why he did, James Comey, why he did, why Michael Flynn did what he did. It's good that we do have whistleblowers because it gives accountability, and it doesn't surprise me that they were more concerned about the whistleblower than what was going on. I mean, what justice isn't in there? They just wanted to shut it down. That's the optics right now that it looks like that's exactly what Judicial Watch did, and good for their work. This is what we need. We need to drain the swamp for good. You see what's going on right now with Michael Flynn? Well, don't you think it would be a great idea that Judicial Watch brings this stuff to light again? Somebody should be charged. Somebody should be charged in all of this. Yeah, what deals were done? What was really talked about? Wouldn't it be nice if there was a tape that surfaced? That would be a beautiful thing. Well, yeah, I would imagine that the tape, if that happened, but wouldn't it be such a game changer? By the way, the New York Times sometimes gets it right. You know, an old clock, broken clock, what do they say, tells time at least once a day the right way. New York Times says Jimmy Fallon's ratings are tanking. Taking a big hit, in other words, because he isn't overly critical about Donald Trump. That's right. The New York Times claims that late-night host Jimmy Fallon is suffering in the TV ratings over his refusal to overly criticize President Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Stephen Colbert took over the top rating spot in February, and his ratings have continued on an upward climb, slipping because he's not overtly disparaging the President of the United States. The Times reported this past Tuesday that the ratings for The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon are down 21% year over year since the debut of the 2017 fall season in September. 10 months, just 10 months after the inauguration day, the trend is holding. 4 late-night hosts being sharply critical of President Trump is a winning strategy. Times writer John Colbin wrote, if you want to look it up for this Times story that I'm referring to, Times writer John Colbin, basing his findings on recent November sweeps in the Nielsen ratings, which were accurate. And he says, and that is bad news for The Tonight Show. According to the report, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, with namesake host, has targeted Trump nightly over the last year. And often in obscene, explicit-laden rants. Assume the top rating position in February in the show's trajectory has continued on an upward climb ever since. So, fall 2016 season, Fallon's total viewership numbers 3.3 million, while Colbert sat at around 2.9 million. And for the fall 2017 season, Fallon's total viewer numbers are holding at 2.6 million, while Colbert has shot ahead 3.5 million. And it goes on. The Times reported that NBC executives have emphasized that Fallon still leads in the coveted 18 to 49 demographic. But according to year-over-year ratings, by just an increasingly small margin, the fall 2016 season saw Fallon 18 to 49 demographic viewers at 1.1 million, while Colbert trailed around 754,000. And for the fall 2017 season, Fallon's 18 to 49 demographic dipped year over year, 836,000, while Colbert ratings declined on a smaller year after year, 746,000. Every time that I tune in for Jimmy Fallon, I've seen him diss the president, but not to the extent that others do. It's just it seems like that's the entertainment. To me, it gets old. I stopped watching Jimmy Fallon for that very reason. I just was turned off. It's just not funny anymore. Not liking it, not laughing at it. And I don't think too many people, I mean, a joke here and there, I think it's perfectly acceptable. But it's how they say it and when they say it. But when you have an agenda, which these networks openly do, and they sit there and they trash it. I mean, come on, for joke, you know that there was tens of thousands of jokes that have been said since, the swearing of the office and even before on Donald Trump. Obama, how many Obama jokes do you think that were said that trashed him? Not to the extent that they've done. It was just kind of, oh, that's so funny. Trumped over, no pun intended. It's just the bias to the media, folks, and it's who controls the and they're all complaining about this merger with Sinclair Broadcasting. Give me a break. They owned the movies, they own TV shows, and what do they want to own? Every single radio station in America? Well, talk radio. By the way, I gotta speak something. Is that this is one of the fastest growing mediums out there. And it's conservatism. It's not liberalism on the dial. And that's what they're really angry about, because a lot of people like alternatives like this show. They like to hear a different point of view, but you're not going to get it from CNN. You're not going to get it from MSNBC or CBS or ABC, any of those majors. PBS, you think they're going to have this view? Of course not. I got to tell you something. I do the show from Tampa, Florida. I love the city. My family's here. They don't want to move. I've had offers, in other cities through the years, and I would say I'll never move, but just nothing, to where just, people wanted to move. I mean, my daughters are here, my granddaughter's here. I can't move. And everyone's like, where's your Tampa affiliate? And there's a national public broadcast, WMNF. They're on the FM dial, big, powerful FM. And, of course, the donors, are mostly liberals. And I've had several people say you need to meet with a station manager. And they have beautiful facilities, nice facilities. They're very well funded. Anytime they have a fundraiser for the station, for National Public Radio, community radio, I mean, they raise the money, boom, just like that. The programming is, some of it's okay. A lot of it's just, it's interesting. But they don't have a point of view like this. So everyone's like, well, you know what? They should have a point of view, don't you think? That might resonate some conservatism. But no, they were definitely not interested. We have an affiliate in Ocala, and that's, 2 hours from Tampa up north. We're on many other states across the country, but it would be nice to have, of course, a Tampa affiliate. That would be nice. But I just had to give that example of the liberal bias. They can't have it. They can't stand it. And why is that? Because they know that if there's a conservative on the dial, no matter if it's 3 a.m. they aired the show, or at midnight, whenever, that there's going to have donors that will complain and they'll pull their money and their sponsorships. And you don't think that there's a bias there? Huge. And there are people that are conservative that do listen to National Public Radio, but community radio. They have music shows. They have variety shows. They have various shows. And I don't think that these hosts actually get paid money to go in. They just do their thing for free. I think there's donors that can donate to the radio station, but I don't think the hosts make any money. And I certainly wasn't trying to make any money. We were just looking at, again, having a Tampa Bay affiliate. It would have been nice. What about Clear Channel? They have their own hosts. And we had a big meeting with them saying that they don't hire outsiders. And I actually worked for them in D.C. for many years. But because I'm not employed currently with them, they hire their own folks. So they weren't interested. So, and I understand that. But to me, if you got a good product, a product works, and the product is going to sell, and you take your shot on them. Good companies, they'll recruit outside, and they'll find something out of the box, and they make it work if they know it's going to work. But some of the crap that I hear, not all the shows are crap, but a lot of them are just regurgitated stuff. They can't personalize it in any meaningful way. And it's not a great show to listen to. And I listen around just to see what other people are doing occasionally. I mean, I'm very busy doing my own thing, but just curious. But a lot of the stuff's just frivolous. And a lot of the shows, you got to have like 5 or 6 people to make it interesting, because that one person on their own is not interested at all. They have this entourage to lift up the one that's really not able to hold it. Or they have all kinds of guests, which I'm not opposed to that. But that in itself, if you can't hold a show on your own, then you shouldn't be on the air. To me, that's a test of talent, is to be able to take to the microphone and being able to speak and communicate, and not just speak a bunch of words just because you're trying to fill the time, but have something meaningful to say. And I'll never forget a caller that called in from Tampa Bay on the station that I did a talk show on several years back for many years. I was on Salem Radio and enjoyed doing a show on, what was it, WTBN? Yeah, 570 and 910. And I did a drive time show, did the morning show over there for years. And she said,